All right. Take a little break from working in between doing a bunch of monotonous stuff I have to do. Not have to do. I choose to do for my business. I'm gonna take a break. Go out front and have a smoke. I figure coming up here to do a video instead of having a smoke is a little better idea. Maybe it'll help me quit. How'd you quit? YouTube videos. They're just searching on YouTube videos how to quit. I'm like, no, I made my YouTube videos. Anyway. Whenever I make a video, I just turn this thing on and just start talking. And just kind of shoot from the hip. This one I needed to write some notes down because it's such a long story and it's so involved that and I'm gonna have a rough time going through it. I know that. And this isn't something that I have proven. This is something that has been weighing on my mind for a long time. Something that I've wondered about what was missing. Something was missing. Like some time was missing. It's really hard to explain. But I just wanted to try to explain this the best I can. I might have to do it again. This has to do with when I was in preschool in Lancaster, California. I went to a preschool. It was a private Baptist school. My mom sent me to. They had a big church. They had a two-story building that was shaped kind of like in the shape of a U that went around, and that was the school, the preschool through 12th grade. And I started there in preschool at a place called the Peach Factory. And so at the Peach Factory, it was in the middle of that horseshoe thing, there was a playground. And on the playground was like a sand area and like those big concrete pipes, construction pipes. There was one of those out there so you could crawl through it, and a swing set. And we had these three-wheel metal tricycles. And there was like a sidewalk track that went all the way around. We jammed those things around and stuff. I remember that pretty well. And at that preschool, we'd have nap time every day. So right before nap time was snack time. They'd all give us some kind of fruit or some kind of crackers with peanut butter or something like that. Something that was already prepared. Not like something you can undo that was sealed. And then I remember they'd always, we had cots. We'd grab all the cots and we'd lay the cots out. And some kids would lay on the cots and some kids would go like lay in this place over on the floor. And I would usually sleep on a cot. So, but I remember, so we'd have snack time, and then nap time was next. And then I remember going to sleep so easy. Just nap time and just you're out. And a lot of times you can't just go to sleep like that. You're trying to go to sleep at night, thinking about stuff, especially like little kids that are all hyper. Just got done with recess, and I don't know if you can get that many kids to go to sleep, but I remember always going to sleep. And then it seemed like whenever I would wake up, and this happened so many times, that's why I remember it, that I would be like shivering cold, kind of dazed, kind of out of it, and just groggy. And then we go back out to the playground and stuff like that. And I remember going out to the playground a lot and just like, I always looked at the airplanes flying over. It was, right by Edwards Air Force Base. There was all kinds of air traffic around it. But I remember going out there and looking at them, and it'd be kind of fuzzy, and everything just kind of seemed hazy and stuff. And I didn't know any better. I just thought I didn't know what was going on. so eventually they told me I had allergies, and they said I had ADD and some different things, and I was like, oh well, that's why. So funny. So it's nap time. Oh, okay. So here, this part's kind of odd too, but it's part of the story, so I have to add it in. One of my best friends back then, his name was Nieres. It was me, Nieres, and Aaron. We're all buddies. And I remember, we'd go pee, and we'd go in there after nap time and go pee in the bathroom. And I remember Nieres saying, why do we always have a boner when we wake up? Do you have a boner when you wake up? Because we'd be peeing up in the urinal. You're standing there, you're like the urinal in the guy's bathroom. You're standing right next to each other. You're like peeing up, and that happens. Like when you wake up in the morning with guys, you just wake up with a. But that just kind of stands out in my mind. I'm doing that. And I remember Nere's asking me if I was circumcised, and I was like, "Nope, I'm not circumcised." He's like, "Me either. Look." This part of the story there's more to it that ends in this. Okay, so this isn't all in order because I was just writing it as thoughts were coming to me. I should have numbered them. Okay, so one occurrence that happened, I got through all that, the nap time, snack time, nap time, bathroom situation. And there was one time I was out on the playground, and there was a girl that was in my class that I don't remember her name. I hardly remember what she looks like, but I remember we ended up in that concrete tunnel thing that they use for construction. And we were climbing through that thing, and I climbed in there, and she said, "Hey, do you want to see something?" And I was like, "What?" And then she unzipped her pants and pulled her pants down. And she was like, "Look," and she was showing me her stuff. And it was like, I already knew what to do. This is graphic, so I'm sorry, but this happened. I put my face down there, and I started going at it. And I remember it tasted salty. That was my memory, and I was like, "Oh, that's salty." And then I don't know what happened. We stopped or got scared or nervous or something like that, and I was over and went back to playground, and everything was back to normal. But I was just like a little kid in preschool. And of course, I had no clue that I was doing anything. I was a little kid. You do what you're taught. So that happened, and nothing ever. Came. Not that I would think that anything would come of it because you're little kids, right? Well, later on, a couple years later, might not even have been a couple years. Might have been first grade. Man, it had to have been first through third grade. Anyway, I wasn't having any issues with my penis that I remember where I complained that it was like getting swollen and not in the way that it's supposed to, or like red or anything like that. Nothing. I wasn't having any kind of issues. And all of a sudden, we go to the doctor. A doctor named Dr. Deschler, who I believe is still alive, lives in the Lancaster area. Told my mom that my penis was retaining water and that I would need to be circumcised. I don't know, I'm a kid. I just do what they tell me to. So, next thing you know, I'm in the hospital, and I've gone through surgery. I've been circumcised, and I get out of surgery, and I have like 4 or 5 places right around the head of my dick that have these like huge black stitches. They're tied together, you know, how they used to do it back in the old school days. That didn't dissolve. So I wake up from surgery, and it's just this burning, searing pain that I remember probably more clear than anything in my life. And I'm freaking some of you out right now, you know, well, it's freaky shit. So now, while there very well could have been a medical problem, medical issue that needed to be dealt with, I did some research on that, and I couldn't find anything where people needed to be circumcised because they were retaining the water in the foreskin of the penis. So I had that in there for a while, and I remember actually the first time when I had to pee into the, I had to go pee after that, and I remember it just burning. Oh my God, it was not fun going pee. I remember I was crying. And I can remember the nurse almost kind of giggling, like she thought it was kind of funny. And that stood out in my mind when I was a kid too. So I made it through that, and I remember having to go back to the doctor's office, and they took the stitches out. I remember them pulling them out, and you feel them come out that fucking into your dick. And I ended up with this is super personal information, but you know, whatever. I ended up with like these scars towards the end of my, I don't think words to use. I guess if you YouTube it's fine, cuss. I've been doing it for quite a while now. Yeah, towards the end of my shaft, right underneath the head, there's like some scars where there was like a hole that went through. You know, it was like they tried to butcher me. Thankfully, it's healed. Not healed. I have scars still, but thankfully it works perfectly fine, and I have no issues with it. I just wanted to clarify that because I'm sure everybody's picturing like this just mangled cock, and it's not the case. I'm sure there's a few photos out there that maybe were stolen off my phone, floating around somewhere. Anyway, I don't know if those situations were linked or anything like that. Like somebody wanted to get revenge on me because I did that to their daughter. But here's the thing that has popped up in my that's entered my mind over and over and over again, because that wasn't the only situation I had when I was a kid. I had 2 cousins. One was younger than me and one was older than me, both females. I'd be over at my grandma's house, and like half the time we were over there, they'd pull me in the bathroom and like jump in the shower and pull their stuff down and be like, look at this, choke, all this stuff. And I'm like, you know, like, okay, cool. And I talked to a counselor about this one time too. And the counselor was like, yeah, kids just do that. That's what, all kids do that. All kids experiment, and they put their fingers in things, and they do all this different stuff, and you don't need to worry about that. Everybody does. Everybody's done that when they were a kid. I don't know if I really buy that. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychologist, but this is just my observation of things that have happened, like I've said. And I don't know, maybe somebody can go ahead and figure something out. Other instances that happened, one of the other friends that I mentioned, I'd go stay over there, and now this was a boy. We did stuff, you know, and I can't remember if he initiated it or I did. But I remember things happening when I was like way too young to even maybe before puberty, that would be a thought in your mind. Then there was another friend that didn't go to my school that lived in my apartment complex. Same thing. Same fucking thing. This happened several different times throughout my younger childhood. And I can't imagine initiating that or having like a sex drive before puberty, or what would cause that other than learned actions from pre-memory childhood. I could be completely wrong, but this is just how I feel. I'm not trying to say this is exactly what happened. I know for sure 100%. I have a lot of questions, and there's been a lot of events that kind of go together, and I just wanted to talk about it. Okay, so all that stuff went down when I was a kid. Um, yeah. Um, okay, so I'm gonna fast forward. Went through all that when I was a kid. I'd go to my dad's house, and you know, everybody's dad had a collection of Playboys, but my dad had like a wall of Playboys and other magazines and all kinds of porn around the house and stuff. And there would be VHS tapes in the oh my god, man, I'm sorry, stick with me here. So yeah, it's I'd always when I go to his house, well not always, every couple of years or so I'd go visit. Seemed like I'd stay in the guest room, and that was a room where I had like the wall of Playboys and all the porn and all that stuff. And I was a little kid, like I was younger, you know. Yeah, I remember flipping through all that stuff and looking through all of it, you know, checking it out, and it was like, and then also back at where my mom's house where I lived in Lancaster, at the same apartment complex that I was just talking about. Sorry. I remember one of my older buddies. He was running around with a Def Leppard shirt. He got me into Def Leppard. He was like, "Hey man, we've got a stack of Playboys out here in this shed." We go out there and check out the Playboys, check out the women and stuff. And that's normal for kids, I think, to be curious with that stuff. But it just seemed like I already knew exactly what to do. I already knew everything. How did I know that? Was it just instinctual for me? Like techniques and shit, you know? Like, what? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward to a completely different situation that happened, but it's what got me really thinking about the way I felt when I was waking up from those naps. Not just the way that it was similar to the way I would wake up from surgery. I've had my lateral meniscus taken out here. I broke my tib fib. I have a metal plate in my leg with 12 screws, something like that, 11, I don't know. There's screws and pins in my leg. I've had 2 slap repairs on my shoulder. And this scar right there, reconstructive surgery on my shoulder, and pyloric stenosis surgery. That was actually when I was a baby. I was like 6 weeks old. Anyway, so I've had lots of surgeries. Waking up from those nap times, a lot of times I would feel just like I would feel when I was coming out of surgery when I was older. And I just kind of thought, huh, that's similar. Like if you do something that you haven't done in a long time, it will kind of take you back to a memory. You know, you hear a song, it'll take you back to a place where you were, right, 20 years ago. So when my wife was still here, my ex-wife now, here, here in Arizona, living here in Arizona, and we're still going out doing stuff, but stuff had been weird for a long time, and I was lying to myself that I wasn't being treated badly, and just trying to be the man and take care of the family, and I didn't want another relationship to end. So, like I said, I just lied to myself, and I kept going through everything and doing everything I could. And right towards the end, right before my wife left, when a bunch of really crazy stuff was going on, she came up with the idea that we needed to go do dance lessons. There was a bar called Romans. I'll just go ahead and say the name of it. It's called Romans. It's out here near Buckeye. I think it's still in Avondale. I'm not sure, but Avondale, Buckeye, something like that. They do free dance lessons on like Wednesdays. So she goes, "Hey, I want to go do dance lessons. You want to dance with me?" And I was like, "I'm not a dancer. I don't like to dance. I used to break dance when I was a kid, but country dance, line dance, not so much. I went and did it. I threw on some boots, cowboy boots, went and line danced, and decided I was gonna have a good time no matter what. Like, yeah, man, boot scoot boogie. I like country." So I have a beer or two. I'm not sure. I can't remember. And we're sitting at the bar, and the bartender's acting all friendly with us. Whenever we go somewhere, I go somewhere with my wife, they'd always be friendly to her. Everybody's friendly to a pretty woman. Most people are. And we're starting conversation, and everything's going good and fun. And there's this couple. I noticed there's a couple. There's a tall, Hispanic, maybe mixed male with what seemed to be his wife or girlfriend, white lady with blonde hair. And they actually looked kind of familiar, but they were giving us extra attention while we were at the bar. And I was just like, well, they're checking out my wife, And most people are like, hey, let's go see if we can take that couple home, or whatever, and people do shit like that. So they're watching us and all this stuff, and I'm trying not to pay attention to them, and I'm just having my beer. And the bartender comes over with this orange drink, and she was like, hey, and she's like, look at me in the eye, like weird. Hey, this person ordered this drink and changed their mind, or I can't remember what the excuse was, but we have an extra drink. You want this drink? I'm like, sure, why not? I'm country dancing, maybe it'll help me loosen up. So I drank that drink kind of fast, actually. And I remember there was this guy, an older guy, that he came up and he was talking to us, and he like grabbed my wife's hand and he's like, can I go dance with her? I was like, nah, you can go dance with your wife if you want to, man. No, I'm sure people, I don't know if people do that, but no, I don't want you to dance with my wife. And so he was like, oh, well, fine then, or what, I go, okay, look, just go away. So he went away. Well, a couple, when we started dancing again, they were doing dance lessons, and they were like professionals. They knew what the hell they were doing. And they kind of made their way over to us slowly. And the lady came over and started talking to me, like almost real aggressive. Not like mean or anything, but just like real assertive. And she's like, hey, you have really good rhythm. Complimenting me. You did really good with this. Try this. Do this. Give me tips and stuff. I'm like, yeah, right on. We'll meet some people. Cool. And they kept showing us stuff, and it was the half step we were learning, actually. That was the half step that night. So we got done with the dance lessons and everything like that, and those people were like, hey, you can talk with you, blah, blah, blah. So they have, in this bar, they have karaoke, too. And I was like, let's go do karaoke. And I was starting to feel pretty out of it. And I've drank throughout my life. I know how it feels when you have a buzz, and I know what my limit is, and I know what I drink is going to do to me. And I was just feeling fuzzy. It's the only way I can describe it. And she's like, let's go do karaoke. So I went over and the song I've been singing, Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old by Garth Brooks, which most TIs probably understand that. So I go up to sing the song, and the DJ, karaoke DJ, looks at me right in the eye, funny. He goes, "Hey, what's up, man? What's what's your song?" Told him. He's like, "Okay, what's your name?" And I go, "Mike." And it was like before I finished saying Mike, he was like, "Oh, okay, Mike, uh, Mike, okay, Mike." Like he knew my name before it even started. Okay, one more odd thing. I'm feeling fuzzy right now. I go to sing the song, and the the pitch is turned way up. I don't know what they call it. I'm not a sound tech, a sound engineer, or anything like that. But anyway, I sing into the mic, and it's like, like that. And I look over, and the guy's just like standing there staring at me. And I'm like, okay, that's not my voice coming out of the mic. So I'm singing the song through. And then when I'm singing the song, the lady comes over, and that was dancing with us, and she like grabs the mic and like shoves it into my fucking face. She's like, "You got to sing into the mic more, dude." Like holding my chest and like trying to just like invading my space while I'm trying to do this shit. And I'm just like, okay, well, this lady has just been drinking. She's over helpful. Whatever, people get silly like that. So I just dealt with it and finished up my song. And like, there was one table in the back with some older ladies, and they were like, "Yay!" Uh, and then some music came on again, and karaoke was over, and that turned into a dance floor right there. So they were like, "Hey, come out here and dance." So we're like going out there and trying to dance a little bit and do some stuff. And I'm horrible at it. Oh, here comes the sun. Horrible at it. And this lady's, I'm dancing. I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. We go out and start dancing. I'm dancing with my wife. Ladies dance with her, or whatever. And it's like she can see that I'm not dancing well with my wife because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm just practicing, right? So she comes over, she's like, "Hey, I can show you how to do that. Do you mind if we switch?" And I was like, okay, this is the second time somebody's wanted to dance with my wife tonight. Whatever. I'm kind of out of it anyway. And the lady grabs me and like spins me away from them so I can't see them. And I'm trying to like turn and I'm trying to dance, stuff like that. And I'm trying to kind of keep an eye and stuff. But she's like forcefully pushing me. And then I like kind of pushed away. And I was like, "Whoa, hey, I don't want to wrestle." And then, so start again. And then I made it through that song. It was ridiculous. And they said, okay, the song was over. They were like, "Oh, hey, thanks. That was fun. Blah, blah, blah. Talk to you later." And we split ways. And I think we sat down for another minute. I think I was sitting down with my wife and I was talking to her about something. And I was like, "I think that guy liked you, babe." She goes, "I'm pretty sure that guy's gay." And I didn't pick up anything from him. Somebody's usually like flamboyant or, you can kind of tell somebody might possibly be gay. I didn't pick up anything like that from him. So she says, "Let's go ahead and get out of here." And usually she just wait, for me, like, "Yeah, let's stay till whatever. Let me drink." So let's go ahead and get out of here. So we go home, and I passed out in the car on the way home. I don't remember waking up and coming in. I don't remember anything. Until the next morning, I woke up, and I don't know what time it was. But I woke up, and my ass hurt. This fucking sucks to say, to even talk about. I have to do this. I woke up, and my ass hurt. I had like a stomach ache. And I was thinking, "Jeez, man, I take a shit." And I was like trying to take shit. And I'm like, couldn't for a minute. Finally did. And I just had this weird stomach ache. And I'm walking around the house and I'm like getting some stuff done. And I'm thinking, why do I have this stomach ache? Why does my, there was like That was super graphic. There was like a twinge in my butthole that, like, just this like pain. I had a stomach ache. I'm walking around the house and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with me. Like, what did I do? Did my wife and I have some crazy sex last night? She like stuck her finger in my butt or something. She wouldn't do it. She didn't do that kind of stuff. And then it hit me. I had the same stomach ache when I was a little kid. And I usually had that stomach ache after nap time. When I'd be out of recess, I'd be walking around going, ah, my stomach hurts. My butt hurts. And I had almost the exact similar feeling. And like I said, a song will take you back to a certain point in time in your life, to that exact moment. And that feeling of what I believe happened that night that made me feel like that day took me back to that exact moment, and it was identical. Now, I can't prove that anybody did anything to me. That's why I had to make this video. Now there's a helicopter flying directly over my house right now while I'm making this video. There's an airport right over there, but they usually don't fly. Well, they usually don't fly right over the house. Recently they have been. Right when I'm doing something like this. Maybe to distract me or whatever. Okay, so I know that was a long story. I'm at 32 minutes here. I know that was a long story, but it had to be in order for me to tell it. And I'm sure I even left a couple things out. I did. The secret garden. Okay. This is going back to the same time when I lived in Lancaster. And my aunts, I had 3 aunts, and 2 of them owned a plant shop called A Secret Garden. And we'd go visit the plant shop every once in a while. Stop by there and see how they're doing after school or whatever, and, you know, go check it out. I remember going by there pretty frequently when they had it. Just as my family had a plant shop, you know, normal thing, right? So later on down the road, should I even say where I was living? I was in Oklahoma. Excuse me. I was in Oklahoma. And there was somebody that I suspected of possibly being a pedophile. And their kids seemed almost like tortured. Very quiet, no eye contact. I have a hard time with that. No eye contact. Just, it seemed like something was wrong. I started seeing this person post photos at this place called A Secret Garden, or The Secret Garden. And they were always like these modeling kind of photos of their kids. And they were getting them into advertising and stuff like that, modeling and advertising. And they would always post these photos from A Secret Garden. And I kept seeing that, and I was thinking, that was the name of my relative's place, Secret Garden. Is this like a place that's used as code for something that's done underground, under the radar with kids or something like that? I don't know, maybe it's just a stupid coincidence. Maybe some of these things that I'm talking about are just a complete coincidence. And I'll admit that somebody could probably turn something, a bunch of different situations, if you like really want to formulate a conclusion on something, if you're really trying to get it, you can take out all of the information that you want and add that together to make a story seem real, right? Like when people read the Bible and they won't have a certain agenda that they're trying to get past, they'll only quote certain parts of the Bible, leave other parts out because it's very contradictory. Same thing. It's just tough for me to think that that's a possibility when all of this stuff happened and I've been targeted for so long and I don't know why. It's just a theory that is possible. You know, I don't want to cause anybody false blame. I don't want to put false blame on anyone. I just want to ask some questions from some people, and it's how do you approach somebody about that? I've tried to talk to my mom about it several times, and she wants to change the subject about the sweater that her dog wears. Maybe because it's just uncomfortable, you know. And her train of thought is, oh well, just forget about it. It was a long time ago. Focus on what you need to now. Pray, stuff like that. If there's actually something that happened to one of my kids, if they came to me and said, Dad, even they're 40 years old, said, Dad, what happened when I was at this preschool that I went to? I'm having these memories of some crazy stuff that was going on, and I think something might have happened. I'd be on the phone looking, like asking questions. Well, what do you mean? Can you explain to me what happened? Can you explain to me who was involved? Can you explain to me anything like that? Not like, oh, I don't, I got a sweater for Marley the other day because we had to go out and it was really cold. And I was like, okay, no, I just asked you about some stuff about pedophilia. And now you're talking about your dog's sweater. And that's how conversations with my mom have always been, always diverting, always gaslighting. I don't want to go too far into that. Maybe that's a whole other video. My mom raised me from the time I was 2, and I thank her for that. But at the same time, I'm looking into some things that make me think that she didn't always have my best interest in mind. But that's another thing I can't 100% prove right now, but I'd have to sit down and do like a video that would go over several aspects of that relationship that made it seem artificial and that just weren't right. All right, well, I guess. Oh man, I thought I was done. This is like one of the longest videos I've done. Okay, so I believe my dad might have had some knowledge of this, or he might have been involved, or something. Something had something to do with this, whether he knew it was going on or something. I don't know. But we didn't have a good relationship throughout my whole life. I always tried to go see him, and there was always an issue where I couldn't, and I'd end up seeing him every couple years, something like that. We'd go to his house for a couple days. We'd go do standard routine, run errands, go to the store. We did a couple things. Took me to a baseball card shop, and oh, okay, yeah. But towards the end of his life, he so he got lung cancer. Well, I'd back up. Towards the end of his life, I wanted my kids to be able to know their grandpa. So I got really adamant about going to visit him and going to see him and stuff like that. And I'd learned to be more professional, more tactful with it. Instead of just going, oh, okay, Dad, if you're busy, it's okay. And I'd tell him, hey, I'm going to come visit you. I'm going to bring my kids, but I want them to meet you, and I want them to have some kind of relationship with you. Be like, okay, well, when are you coming? That's not how he sounded. So I'd haul everybody down there. We'd go hang out for a day, stay the night, drink some scotch at the end of the night. The normal thing. And let's see, where should I go with this? To what his wife told him. Okay, well, this is part I can remember right now. One time we went to go visit him right towards the end, right before he got, actually he had He had lung cancer, I think, at the time. And we all went to go see him. We took photos and everything. And we went to like some Chuck E. Cheese kind of place, pizza fun house play. It wasn't Chuck E. Cheese. It was a local place. And he hung out with the kids. And he's playing skee ball and stuff like that. And everything was fine. We went home that time, and I wanted to go back and visit him again, like pretty soon after that. And it was just my wife and I. So I was like, "Hey, we're gonna go visit." And his wife told him, who I did not like, told him, "If you have any visitors today, I'm gonna shoot you in your fucking head." And he relayed that information to me when I went to go visit him. Drove from Fresno to Palmdale. And I got that phone call when I was there in town already. Like, "Hey, my wife said if anybody shows up, she's gonna fucking shoot me in the head." I was like, "Wow, well that's interesting. Okay, well what's up?" So he goes, "Well, maybe we can meet." So he just met us at this restaurant. I can't even remember. We went to some barbecue place. Oh, we went to Famous Dave's. Sat in there, had a barbecue, had a beer, talked about some random stuff, and he actually seemed pretty nervous. I mean, he had cancer; he was going to die pretty soon, so he, would have been nervous. He was real skinny. And, but one thing, I know I'm kind of going all over the place here. One thing that he told me that, or not that he told me, that his wife told me. He wasn't. I think he'd ran to the store or something like that. She told me that when he was a little kid, that the guy down the street molested him. And that was the reason that he would hardly ever be around me, because he was afraid that he would do the same thing to me. He never, ever once, that I have a memory of, came close to me, to touching me, or made me feel uncomfortable sexually. Never. I was a little bit afraid of him because he was just like a kind of tough dude, biker, firefighter kind of guy. Always had a gun in his car. Didn't take shit from anybody. But I never had an issue with him doing anything to me. My only issues with that when I was a kid was with other kids, and possibly from before I remember. So I don't know if that actually happened, or if she just used that, if she was, a perp and she was targeting him, or I don't know what. There's so many possibilities. It's endless. But so not too long after that, I went through this whole story in another video, but not too long after that, I get the phone call that my dad shot himself in the head. The day I got home from drill, Air National Guard drill. My mom told me about it. Sounded pretty excited, almost. And she said, "Hey, did you hear he did it? He shot himself." Like that was bonus. So now I was trying to kind of stay around her before I realized a lot of this stuff. And I was trying to get her to move to Arizona, and talk to her, but no conversation would ever go anywhere. It always end up like a gaslighting type of thing. And then she just up and moved from California to Chicago, Minnesota, little town, 300 people, out in the middle of nowhere. And I haven't even answered her phone calls or text or anything in, I don't know, like a month. Because it's always, I want to talk about something real. And there's how much time we have left on this earth. I want some solid conversations. I don't want to talk about nonsense diversion. But that's what I always receive. I keep thinking I'm done with this, and then I'm like, okay, do I have anything else on my notes that I missed? No. A bunch of other shit's happened in between all of that, but that was just some different events that have happened in my life that make you want to become the guy with the white wall with all the red strings, all the pictures, trying to figure out who's connected to who and why these people did this to you and what's going on and how it can end. And I don't know if there's really an answer to that. But I'm going to keep trying. I hope I don't end up like Chris Cornell. And of course I can't think of the lead singer's name from Linkin Park right now. But you know who I'm talking about. They both just recently died. They were investigating what from them when they were a kid. And it's a little discouraging. I think over the last year, 94 holistic doctors have been murdered, like shot in the head, and died from asphyxiation, and all these different, a whole list of different things that they died from. And it seems like when you start speaking some truth, trying to help some people, talk about what's real, maybe some injustices that have happened to you in your life, that's what happens, I guess. It shouldn't. Well, this video is 47 minutes now. Sorry, these long videos are ridiculous. There's so much information out there, it's hard to keep track of all of it. But again, I'm doing this to document for posterity. And I hope that somebody can find some of this information useful. And maybe even help me a little bit. I don't know. I could use a little bit of help. I'll be okay. I'll push through this. I'm a self-proclaimed tough guy. But a little help wouldn't be bad. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for sending all the comments and all the messages and phone calls. And I mean, I even had a lady that's a TI show up at my door, and I sat and talked with her for like an hour. Now, not 100% sure she was a TI, but I think she was, and if not, she was a detective. She was asking me some questions about some of this stuff, and that's fine, because I'd love to talk to a detective about anything. I told her, I said, I feel like the guy on Shawshank Redemption, the scene where the warden takes the rockabilly guy out to the yard, and he's like, hey man, we can get Andy Dufresne off. He's an innocent man. I can't remember how the scene goes, so I'm not an actor. But I need to know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, if you'll want to testify in a court of law to help him get out of prison. Would you do that, son? And the guy's like, just got this look of just like relief, like, oh my God, you can help my friend? Yeah, man, let's do that. Let's do the right thing. Let's get him out of here. The warden drops his cigarette, puts it out, steps back, gives the signal, the nod, boom. The shitty warden in the movie blows that kid away. And that's almost how that situation felt. Like I was just giving up some information to the enemy, so they knew what my intentions are, and it might not be good. So whatever you all do out there, pray, meditate, think good thoughts, but just send it my way. I'm over and out.